you. Of course, we could make a regular standard rectangle card, but why not make a circle card? I'm going to show you 2 ways that you can create a circle card. So let's get started. So let's have a closer look at the cards. This one in Fresh Freesia, you'll have a look inside, and the Petal Pink, you'll notice that they both look a little differently inside. So it's really a personal choice of how you want to create them, but I'll give you some tips in doing them. You'll first need some circle dies. I'm using the new Deckled Circles dies. These are available coming up in the new mini catalogue starting on September 6th. So I made the circles so they will still fit in your standard size envelope. So that's going to work out a lot cheaper for your postage. So if we just have a look, you'll be looking at this size of die once we get it up. And it's good having different sizing of dies so you can layer on with them. So we'll get, firstly I'm going to look at the Fresh Freesia version. If you have a look, there's a bit of a join happening up here. So you'll need 2 pieces of card, whatever colour you choose, and you can either, of this one I have used some pretty pattern paper. This is the Fresh as a Daisy paper. So I've just cut that print out, which is really lovely, all these patterns on it. You might have some other pattern paper, or you can stamp on it like I've used on this one. I'm using the Translucent Florals on this card. That's a new stamp set and die that is available in the mini catalogue coming up as well. It's a really pretty set. So firstly we'll get the die, and you're going to have 2 pieces the same size, just a little larger than your circle die, and you'll want to run that through your die cut machine. So we'll just go and do that. So here we have them. You can very easily cut 2 pieces of cardstock with it, and I'm also doing that because if you notice, you've got this sort of wiggly edge to the dies, and they're a little bit uneven, so it's very hard to match them up. So if you're one that really wants them to be nicely matched together, then you want to try and keep them close as much as you can. So I'm just going to put that aside straight down. Now with the bottom one, what you want to do is grab your paper trimmer, and we'll put it that way, won't we? Just want to put your die on there, and I've just moved it across to about 1.5 centimeters, or that would be about 1/2 inch, and get that cutting blade out of the way. You just, using your scoring blade, you're going to add a couple of little scores marks. So you can just see we've got a score line along there. Now, put these back together. You can fairly easily line them up. You might want to wiggle it a little bit. So then what we can do is you can just lift that up. You want to run a little bit of adhesive. I'm just using the Tombow white adhesive, and just run that a bit along there and stick that down. We'll hold that down to stick. We'll just fold that back on the score line. So you're going to get this little bit of a folded edge on it. Now you'll find with this version you're using less cardstock, so you've only got 2 layers of cardstock, so it does make it lighter for postage, and it is a lot quicker to make. So it's certainly a preference. Don't forget to add a circle inside. That's great for just writing on it. So this is your first version. Then we'll grab our petal pink. So here's our petal pink version. What I've got is a piece of cardstock that is the size for your circle, just slightly smaller. It doesn't matter because you're going to go off the edge there, and with a score line on it. You'll also want another piece the size of your circle. And I'm using a piece of designer series paper to layer it. I have layered the piece of pattern paper on cardstock just to make it a little bit stronger. But of course, you don't have to add that extra piece of card on it. You can just have the paper. It's only a little bit of an edge showing. So we're going to run these through the die cut machine. So first you'll want to place your die on your card base, and just so it overhangs that edge on the fold. Then we'll also need another piece of cardstock the size of your circle that we can cut the circle out. And I'm also using some designer series paper. I'm using the Hello Irresistible paper for this one. So we're going to run them through the die cut machine now. I'm putting the paper and the card piece together, and for this one we are going to cut it through with just the die hanging off. So we'll just run and do that. So we have our die cut pieces. We've got our card base. So you can just see that's on the fold there. And then we've got our paper and our other card piece. So once again, I'm just going to flip that over so it's fairly closely lined up, and we'll glue those together. Isn't that pretty background? You can use that. It looks a bit underwater scene, doesn't it? So we're going to just wiggle that in place. Then you can also add that onto your card front. So we can just, now it might not bother you if they're a little bit wiggly and around, but I like to have it a little bit lined up. And once again, we're going to glue that. Don't glue right up the top edge because that's going to be sticking up, and just run around with your glue. There you have it. You can see that inside we've got the fold. Now, I want to give you another tip as well. If you're finding it's a bit hard to see that, now it's on the sides, you're standing it up. If you're finding it's rolling a little too much, it's not steady, what you can do is just trim off the bottom edge, like I've done there, just with your paper trimmer. Just run a little, cut a sliver off, say it right, and it'll sit a little more steady on that. I didn't do that with this one. I found it stood okay. I don't know whether it's because it was lighter weight with just having the two pieces of card, but it's very easy just to cut a sliver off. So we have two versions. So this one, we just cut two circles, scored the line. There was just only two pieces of cardstock. It's a little bit lighter to use. Also, not using as much cardstock can be a little bit more economical, but it depending on what look you want to go for. This one I've done a full piece of pattern paper. You can also certainly not worry about that extra layer if you don't want to. But the card base, you have the die just hanging off the fold, so it opens out like that. So you can decorate it as however you'd like to. If you've liked seeing these projects and you want to be sure to catch more, if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, give it a like, drop a comment. If you're on Facebook, give it a like, share it with your friends. But tell me in the comments, which version do you like the most? I'd love to know. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.